Welcome to the American Freethinker. You are correct. This will not be a video today, it will be audio. Still can't get that camera to work on my laptop, and after watching that last video, it reminded me of what you might see in a movie where a guy is kind of stuck down in his bunker, desperately trying to get information out. So we'll just do audio for a while. Now, this session, this audio, is a couple days late. I would have done it Wednesday or Thursday, but, well, just like everybody else, we're waiting on Florida, and this time Georgia, and elsewhere, actually. But I had to. I couldn't keep waiting. So yes, today's topic is the midterms. Now, I really don't think people are shocked or confused that the Democrat Party is acting like they've always acted. This is the way they have been since their founding. They were founded, they have been, and they are a corrupt, mob-like party. They've always been caught, and they've always tried to get into the voting process and cheat one way or another, whether it be putting people who are dead, their name on the to be able to vote, actually just stuffing, hiding things away. After Reconstruction, that's what their entire job was to stop minorities and whites that didn't believe like them, stop them from voting in the South. So nothing has changed, and it's like this every year. Now, it just so happens that this year we might actually have a president that might actually step up, because he's not part of the group, the establishment, the people who don't want to ruffle any feathers because they just want to keep their good gig going. So yet again, we have voter fraud rampant, and these are the ones that just get caught. You know, they're all over the place. But that's the history of it, and probably the future. But I do want to talk about a couple of the races. I was looking more into Texas, Florida, Georgia. For some reason, that really interested me. I was really worried that because it was obvious that they were targeting like Ted Cruz and the Florida governorship and Georgia governor, and they're really targeting that, hoping, because they had so much money, and Hollywood really put a lot of money into that. But what really, I don't know, I know the odds were pretty obvious that the House would be taken. The question was it between 1 or like 60 or 70? I mean, no one really had a clue. And the Senate, of course, would stay Republican and maybe 1 or 2 extra seats. But of course, we were hoping, now we take the House, then things can keep going forward. We knew if the Democrats took the House, obviously they would be, I'm not going to even use the word obstructionist, because they tried to use this a lot when Obama was running and Republicans were obstructionists. Well, it's obvious, people, when you have two parties that are more and more polarized, which we are now, that the other party is going to try to stop the party in charge from doing stuff. I mean, that's just obvious. So the term obstructionist, it's just a word. It's just something that they throw out to get people all upset. It's a word that your average Democrat on Facebook can use and they can sound. Look at me, I sound smart. Okay, that was mean. I apologize. But past them taking the House and what they're going to do, and as far as the actual election in Michigan, and I think there was another one in Maryland, but we had what I considered to be someone that, if every politician was like this, and not just because of his views, that's obvious, but John James in Michigan was about a perfect candidate. He struck me as someone who is someone that we want there in Washington or at the state level governments or whatever. We're talking about a combat vet. I believe he's a ranger, maybe even a pilot. I think he has a couple master's degrees. He owns a business. He's a family man. And he was going up against a woman that has suckled off the teat of government, I think probably most of her working adult life. And the people of Michigan actually voted this woman back in. Usually there's not a very strong candidate going against her anyways, because everyone knows she's just going to win, which is pathetic. But John James he seemed to be the perfect politician, what everybody would like. And I really thought, again, as much as odds-wise, percentage, everything was against him from winning, I really thought he could do this just because he just seems like that perfect politician. And there was a couple others. I think there was one in Maryland was the same way. He was an ex-military. I think he had a master's degree. I think he was a professor in Maryland, and he was running against some 70 plus 80-year-old guy who's been in there forever, and he didn't win either. It just blows my mind that, again, it blows my mind anyways that people vote for the Democrats. It really does. Anybody who knows the history, like I said, of the Democrat Party should not be voting for them because of how they've been corrupt from the get-go. There's no difference between Van Buren and Pelosi. Okay? Absolutely no different between these two people as far as their worldview, as far as what they believe a political party should be, and that mob-like mentality as far as a political party goes. It seemed there was an uphill battle for the Republicans to maintain, but something that I learned, and I really didn't know or realize, that 50 House Republicans actually, once Trump got elected, and I think it was just 50 House. I mean, it could be 50 House and Senate, but I think it's 50 House members actually just decided, hey, I'm not going to run for re-election, because they were rhinos, they were establishments, and it's the typical weak-kneed Republican politician. They go up there and they just lose all sense of their belief that the idealism of Americanism, that is the conservative, but then of course the Republican is this idea that of Americanism, that our values, our culture, our laws are of a particular mindset. And that's as simple as it gets for the Republican Party. It's been the same since the beginning of, I know Abe Lincoln was the first major Republican candidate, but even a little before, when the Republican Party got started, we've pretty much had the same views. We really haven't changed our views. And as capitalism became the obvious connection to our beliefs, we haven't changed. But for some reason, our politicians have always had it in their mind they don't fight back. And until, of course, Trump comes, and that's why they fought so much against him. So as far as this actual midterm election, I don't think anybody's really, like I said, I don't think anybody's shocked. It definitely wasn't a blue wave, but nobody really believed what the media was saying. Everybody knows that they are what they are. They are basically just an arm of the Democrat Party, and so they're going to try to, well, voter suppression would be the word I would use, because they try to just let conservatives or Republicans know, don't even come out and vote. You're going to lose by a landslide. And the funny thing is if you look back in history, it's kind of rare that a president maintains Congress, let alone both Senate and House. So for him to maintain Senate is the big one. That's the one we had to keep Senate, because that's a large portion of the power, especially if he's able to get one or maybe two more Supreme Court justices. So to wrap up my views with the midterm, again, no one's surprised. Typical Republicans, conservatives were, oh boy, it could have went better, but back to the drawing board. We know what we're fighting. Every single election, we're fighting not just the corruption and the fraud of the voters, of voting from the Democrats, but we're up against the media, the Hollywood, and the professors and all the university. I mean, we understand that and it's not all of them. Again, let me go off to a little side note here while I end this. Yes, we know that the leadership of the Democrat Party, we know that we're battling just a few. It's just a few that believe this hardcore, the Marxist type views, from the 30s, the 40s, the 60s, all the way from the actual Marxists in the Democrat Party, all the way up from Wilson, FDR, to the 60s hippies. That is the leadership of the party now, the 60s hippies, whether it's professors or the politicians or the media. We know what it is. And we know that it's that group that then basically continues to brainwash just your typical hardworking, still says they love America, but they just don't want to know the topics. We know this. Every election, we know that this is going to happen. But we don't go crazy. We don't riot. We don't start causing major problems, knocking down people's doors and bothering them. We just, well, like I said before, we're going to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and start all over again. And that's what we do. Well, I hope the audio part's okay. Sorry about not having the video for a while. I'm going to continue doing it because I still got to get stuff off my chest. If this is on, I don't even know when I download with YouTube or whatever, but if it's YouTube, please subscribe, ring the bell, share it. If it's Facebook, please share it. And my next video will be, I'm going to probably start the good old meat and potatoes topics. Remember, this is a topic-based issue. Once I get my actual live show call in, I'll like that much better. But we'll get into my next topic, which will be abortion, and then we'll hit race issues, the Second Amendment, gun rights, really get into the meat and potatoes of the topics that actually affect us. Once again, thank you.